Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to Traders Around the World. Welcome to your North American Into the Open session here. And I hope that folks are doing very, very well. It looks like things are going well. Hey, Terry, happy Canada Day to you too. Happy Canada Day to all the Canadians in the room. Looking forward to navigating markets, trading markets here with you, providing you with good diagnostics on where things are likely to go, and all of that jazz and more. We're doing pretty well with our forecasted outcomes, on the week so far. They've worked out almost exactly on point, which is pretty nice to see. Now we need to take advantage of them as we move through the day today and see if we can, trade through this market morning. We are in a market where you got some weaker than expected jobs data in the morning. You got more data coming out at 10 a.m. We're in an oversold bounce week from last week's selling. The Nasdaq's a bit more of a drag on markets, and we've got a stronger dollar on the day. Let's see how all these forces are kind of pulling together to tell us which way things are likely going to go at a market level, and get right into it. All right, folks, without further ado, everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. Consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. Whether I'm discussing past trades taken, doing live trades in front of you, coming up with plans and projections for future potential trades, whether I'm doing any or all of the above and any combination thereof, with respect to a live cash account, demo account, or a prop trading account, it's all done for education and insight purposes only. It is not meant as advice. Finally, if I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to that poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. Well, a very good morning to everyone that's writing in. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Tom, A, Simon, Gus, Subransu, Terry, Emma, Siraj, Jeff, and to everyone logged in, a very warm welcome to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching from this lovely planet that we are allowed to have the privilege to frolic around in. So let's go right into the flight paths for the week. So the flight paths for the week are derived off of me doing a diagnostic and analytics using all of our tools together on the weekend, and I publish it before the week starts, usually working with half a dozen to a dozen different outcomes that the primary market, the S&P minis, can take, and whittle it down to two, a plan A and a plan B. We very early decided that we were in plan B. That was effectively on Monday, where we were trying to come up through that key water line in the 74, 75-ish area. That's that set of nested volume point of control lines going back to the beginning of May and going back to the beginning of June. And we busted above there. That opened the door for yesterday, the push up that took us up into the next major water line, which we see as a concrete ceiling. Now, it was chipped away at slightly. We did get above it, just like the drawing said. And then the insight was from me yesterday that we're likely going to see that pullback form in yesterday's market. But it didn't happen yesterday. It happened in the overnight session. I did say yesterday or in the evening. And we did get that pullback. We got down to a low of 75.10. You can go across the screen and kind of see that. And we've already been pushed back up. Are we already in this part of the move, getting ready for potentially poorer than expected jobs data to present tomorrow to act as a catalyst for down? Well, here are the couple of things that matter on the day. We do have, let me get rid of that. We do have a market day today where the daily chart signal, let me just expand that to full screen. And this is on the primary market, not on the NASDAQ. The daily chart signal is still in a buy state. And the S&P E-minis are only down about 0.1% at this moment in time. If you look at it through the lens of the NASDAQ, let me bring the NASDAQ up on screen over here. This is a daily chart of the NASDAQ. It's down about 0.8% to 0.75%. The NASDAQ is a clear drag on the market. Okay, so that drag is clear and present, hasn't changed. It's been persistent throughout the session. But note that the primary market came down exactly to that area that we had diagnosed and has been pushed right back up. It came down, made session lows at 75.10 and a half a point, and have been pushed right back up. Now, have we gotten back above 75.55? Are we going to go and make higher highs versus yesterday? The ISM data at 10 a.m. may be influential on that. It is a heavier hitting data point overall. And if the manufacturing data comes in better than expected, yeah, the answer would be very straightforward. We are likelier then to see the S&P E-minis continue to push up and pull the NASDAQ up. Right, so it may be the lead in, well, it is in the lead in today's trade on the way back up, but the Nasdaq is still acting like a drag on the market overall. So let's go and take a quick look-see now at just a couple of the key levels that may help with decision making as we move through the day, and I want to give you a little bit of color on the nature of the day overall. So what's the nature of the day, telling us at this stage? Well, we've got a market that has got a few things tugging at it more negatively. So let's make it really straightforward and simple. I'll take you over to the euro, which is the other side of the dollar. The dollar index is constructed by over 6/10 of it being constructed with the euro in there. So if the euro is going down, the dollar is going up. The euro's down about 0.4%. Okay, so 0.4% down on the euro, still in the downtrend channel. That means that the dollar is going to act like a headwind for markets. It's probably going to be, something that can stifle, the market move from going much higher. Now, the majority of the impact of a stronger dollar, weaker euro is probably already in the market. So what we need to see now is an incremental catalyst, i.e., 10 a.m.'s data, the ISM, the Institute of Supply Management's Purchasing Manager Index data, the PMI data, that comes out better than expected, which it's leaning to. Okay, we could then see that lift the market sentiment and take us up. Okay, so weaker euro, stronger dollar might be able to be overturned, but right now, the headwind that it's posed is already priced in, but it's still acting like a drag, or it's like holes in the sail of a ship or a boat, right? So it's not, the sail's not working as well because there's holes in it. So the S&P E-minis did come down to 75.10. They came down to that bullseye area that we had diagnosed and then have bounced from there. I see, some folks are still having some problems seeing the charts on the screen, like Paul B. You're writing in over there. Just make sure that you've got your system refreshed because it is streaming. Oh, you can, and everyone else can saying they can see it fine. So it's probably a setting on your side. All right, so let's get that out of the way. But I want to make sure I take care of everyone, right? So there we go. All right, folks. And hey there, Christiana. Happy Canada Day to you too, and Max. All right, let's go. The insight again is the drag being posed on risk-on sentiment is already priced in, but it's still a drag. It's like holes in the sail of a ship. It's going to make it harder for us to go higher at a faster pace on the S&P. The other drag is the intermarket behavior. The NASDAQ is doing worse than the S&P. The NASDAQ at this moment in time is down about 0.8% to 0.75%. It's a drag. Now, it too is in a formation that is, in line with our flight paths on the week. They move largely in the same direction at different rates, of course. One can lead, one can lag. And again, the idea is that we come up, and that was for yesterday. We start forming the turn, which was yesterday. We start pulling back down, which I was expecting yesterday late in the cash session or in the overnight session. And we did get that pullback down to 75.10. And then we get pushed back up again. And it takes us above the 75.55-ish area, maybe a slightly higher high on the week. And then some bad data comes in tomorrow, i.e. the jobs data, and down we can go. There's more likelihood that there's going to be demand for things to be bought in today's market as fresh money comes in at the beginning of the quarter, all those 401ks and RRSPs and this, that, and the other. So as company matching plans, all that kind of stuff, fresh money comes in. So that's going to create some demand. Now that's mechanical. Is it going to be enough to actually take this thing up and away? Don't know. And Stephen E., you're absolutely right when you're thinking about the idea of a grander, a head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and down we can go, going back to the beginning of May. But let's deal with today first, and let's deal with the balance of the week first. We know that there are dragons below the 7,300 area, below the 7,300 area on the ES. That there be dragons, and it's going to be difficult to fight. The bottom line for today, we're operating right on plan. The question mark now to me really is, are we going to see the S&P E-minis overturn the drags from the dollar strength and from the NASDAQ and pull the market sentiment up and get us back up and above the 75.56 area? If that's the case, then we're going to be doing lots of bullish long side trading. Otherwise, we might have to journey back down towards the lows of the session if the NASDAQ drags us lower, and we might be in a spot where we're doing short side trading. Now, the way I think the morning is going to play out is we get the opportunity for more choppy and mixed action before 10 a.m., more clear direction on markets, up or down, but I think it'll be more likely up after 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if one is thinking about where to use their dry powder in terms of trading on the day, it probably is after 10 a.m. Probably. Okay. So we might be stuck in chop and slop, out of the gates with a little dip first, and then a market that doesn't unravel would be the way that I think it is likelier to play out. So what does that mean from a trading standpoint? Well, right now, I want to just get under my belt the 1 hour, 5 minute, 1 minute chart. So the 1 hour chart over here is in a buy signal state. It's holding above its channel. It's poking its hairs above the speed lines. It's in an expensive state already, even though it's pulled back. The 5 minute chart's oscillating between signals: an up signal, a down signal, an up signal. And we're in an expensive state with the SSS indicator in the uppermost quadrant of the 4-quadrant channel, the channel sloping down as well. So this does not bode very well for up and away. So like I was saying, I think that we can start off the market morning from 9:30 to 10 a.m. with a little dip down that does not break the market down, does not necessarily take it all the way down to lows of the session for the ES, albeit we are at lows of the session for the NQ right now, or pretty much. So my insight to you is, hey, watch your back. We're going to probably dip out of the gates. That dip is probably going to be bought back up before we end up getting too gnarly. So I'll be trading the ES and or the NQ. I'm going to bring the NQ up right now. Let me just actually do it so that we can have it side by side. I know folks liked that view yesterday, so I'm going to try to reconstruct it today for you. And let's get that going. Okay, so we need to minimize a few of the time frames over here. So I'm going to do that right now and make sure that we've got the right stuff on screen to look at. So I'll just keep the 5 minute and the 1 minute kind of alive on the ES over here. I'll do the same sort of thing for the NQ as well for you. So let's get that 1 minute chart pushed out over here, and let's get that 5 minute chart pushed out because we have started cash operations and we're getting the dip that I'd expected, right out of the gates. It's happening as I speak right now. So there we go. There's your 5 minute chart. There's your 1 minute chart. Let me just get them spread out a little bit more over here. The NASDAQ is dragging the S&P down. And by the way, the NASDAQ has a couple of critical levels. 240 was one of them. The other one of them is 160. So we've actually perforated 240, right out of the gates. And we've come down and we've hit pretty much 160. And it's happened in rapid fire. So, and by the way, you can see it on the ES as well. We have come down almost to the session lows, almost to the 75.10 marker. I don't think we've come down to the 75.20-ish marker. And right now, I'm just going to let the market settle into a groove. I don't think that we're going to have a breakdown type market day today. I don't think that that's the case. I think it's going to operate on the flight paths that I've already done the work on and shared with you. We dip down, we get shakedown, scare, but not a real tear, more of a repair back up, and then only to be trounced with bad data tomorrow. But again, between 9:30 and 10 a.m., I'm expecting the market to start off with a dip and not a wholesale breakdown. But if I wanted to short this bad boy, I could do so below 160 on the NQ. I could do so below, I'd probably want to wait for 75.10 to be broken on the ES. But there is some rhyme and reason to look at shorting the ES below 75.15. If this downside pressure wants to remain in play, sure. I just think that it's going to be snap back up fairly quickly. So that's something that can become very problematic for one that is actively decision making and going, isn't the market breaking down? Aren't we on sell signals on a 5-minute and 1-minute chart? Well, that's where having a little understanding about the neighborhood can help. So right now we're still pressured down. I'm still going to consider a potential short because there's momentum at this time of the day. But I am not going to be pursuing it with large size, one contract size on the ES or on the NQ. And I'll probably be more interested in doing any shorting on the NQ because it is the weaker market, but it is also the wider range and more volatile market. You click the button and instantly it can be a 500 up or 500 down on a one contract trade in this market. Nonetheless, I am interested in potentially trying a short. If the NASI comes down and hammers down through 160, it's going to pull the ES down with it. And I can try a short on the ES, which is what I just did. So I hit the short button. Okay. I'm not in it for a long time. I'm here only for a good time. Okay. I want to see if I can get a full 20 seconds out of this or not. Let's see if we can. The NASDAQ is still pressuring down, so my trade is in the money. But let's see if we cross that 20-second marker. And then guess what I'm going to do? Oh, yeah, I'm taking profit. $112.50 on the first trade, and there it is. Now, for folks, who are listening in and asking questions, I apologize if I'm not able to see all of your questions and address them all the time. My focus is on getting you the best insights possible. And then you can ask the mods, you can, chime in into the chat and ask the questions you have. Mods will help answer them along the ride. Okay. So again, I'm not trying to ignore you or anything like that. I want to make sure that folks understand that if there's questions that are seemingly left unanswered with respect to any area, I'm seeing them, but I'm going to have to focus on what I think is going to create the biggest impact for you. So I'll leave it right there. Okay, so we are continuing down. We're now at the session lows. Are we in a spot right now where the market is going to tell us that it has to unravel from here? Or are we just in a spot where this is a scare, but not a real tear? Which can then lead to a repair. Yes, a little rhyme is not harmful. Okay, so let me continue onwards with the exercise here. Just give me a second here to modify another screen before I continue providing you my insight. So the NQ at this moment in time is well below the 160 area. There's no support on the 1-minute chart or the 5-minute chart, so we can see that. Let's go over to the 1-hour chart. We're below support structures on the 1-hour chart as well. Last support was around the 230, 240 area. What about the 4-hour chart? Is there support there? What about the daily chart? Is there support there? Let's go and take a look at that. Let's see if I can move it around here. I'm going to go straight to the daily. And lo and behold, there is support. It's sitting at around 135. It's the fast speed line. If that doesn't hold, 29,930, 920 becomes the next area that price could move down to. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think we're in a market that gives you a scare, but not a full tear. I think that the technical signals right now are negative enough, and the couching of the market, as we looked at it a little earlier, is negative enough to say it could just keep going down. So should I just hit the sell button and just ride this thing down? I'm going to give it a moment here. We are below the lows of the session for the ES. The NASDAQ has dragged us down. We've broken support on the 4-hour chart for the NQ, as you can see over here, top of the channel. We're coming down to 30,000 and about 50 handles, which would be the next support structure. There's also support at the bottom of the Champion Cross buy zone right there at around 30,090, 80, 90 points. And that was just tested. It's holding. So these tools work really, really well to identify support and resistance, but we have to make the highest probability decision that's in line with each individual's risk tolerance. So right now, my risk tolerance is saying I have a suite of analytics I've done saying that expect a drop out of the gates and then chop up until 10 a.m. and then 10 a.m. onwards, it will have cleaner trending direction. Now, I don't want to be beholden to it. I just want to observe that and understand if I'm seeing something that's worse than the drop that I was expecting. I was expecting a drop that could take us down to 75.20, maybe 75.15 at the very low end, and we've come down below that on the primary market, the ES. So that is a little more concerning. But if we rapidly ascend and come back up above 75.15, the idea of shorting this and it continue to go down, it's not there. So what I want to start off with right off the bat is just ask you, did you get the goods out of the gates from me? You saw a profitable trade as well from start to finish. You saw the 20-second ticker go for the FFF account that I was trading there. But you let me know with a lucky number 7 in the chat and share with me if the insights were hard hitting for you or they fit right. That's the idea here, because there's lots of different ways, to kind of approach this. Now I see, folks asking questions in the chat about accounts and giveaways and that kind of thing. That's not my department right now. Okay. So like I said, hang tight for that stuff. Other mods will be able to answer those types of questions throughout the morning. And in the days to come, there will be some surprises. Okay. So there it is. Hey there, Donna. Okay. All right. So it looks like, and Joe, nice, quick 5-point short, right? Amazing. Happy to hear it. Okay, and it looks like folks got the short too. So that's amazing. Okay, so that makes me feel really, really good. And Mark B, I saw your question about do I care if what Warsh has to say? Nope, not a lick, not a lick. Right. The biggest thing that Warsh could do is put foot in mouth and take back what he's tried to build at his first presentation in the FOMC. And I highly doubt that guy's going to do that. Right. I think he'd be fired if he was. I'm just being facetious, but bottom line, it's not something that I think is going to be influential. Right now, I'm trying to figure out what my next trade is going to be, folks. And I know that you've heard the insight, likely a drop out of the gates. It's likely going to be a scare, not a tear. We're probably going to be able to see the market rise up again. I'm just modifying things around over here. So I've got a little bit, a little bit more here to share on the NQ side. As I know, most folks are fans of the NQ in this type of trading environment. So the 5-minute chart's in a pervasive sell signal state. 1-minute chart's in a sell signal state. Is the hourly chart in a sell signal state? Not quite yet. Not fully. The champion cross indicator has tentatively gone into a sell. The triple S line is not crossed below the slow momentum line. It's not officially in a sell, but it's obviously weakened. And you're seeing birds on a wire, which usually fly up and away. So indecision prints going sideways, birds on a wire. Usually there's 3 birds on a wire and then we fly. That's the first bird. That's the second. This was a bird. Now it might become a launch bar. I don't know yet. And if it does launch, at what point does the sell signal go away? Well, we'd have to get back above 30,230 to really say, something is changing on the NQ materially. So right now, I'm expecting it to come back up, right? I'm expecting us to move into a choppier, harder to trade environment into 10 a.m. and then not smooth sailing, but cleaner trending direction after 10 a.m. Very likely inspired by the ISM manufacturing data that comes out at 10 a.m. So we'll have to evaluate it and see how it goes. So right now, I'm still in wait. I'm very tempted to take on a long, but I don't want to scalp something and not be able to be in the trade for that 20 seconds or so. So I am probably going to wait it out. All right. We've got some negative pressure that's been installed, negative momentum that's been installed. We're trying to turn that around. Okay. But we're rising into falling resistance on the 5-minute chart, which is my day tradable chart, on the NQ, as you can see, and on the ES as well, right? We're rising into falling resistance of the speed lines. So at this moment in time, I think we're going to try to grind up, right? This could be an MNQ moment. It could be an ES. It is in many ways counter trend, and I'm holding myself back right now. I'm gonna leave it alone. But I think that we are going to try to rise and tag something in the low 200s on the NQ. I think we're going to try to tag the 75, 23, 24-ish area on the ES. and then we'll wobble back down again, very likely. So I'm gonna see if I can play the wobble back down again, if it's strong enough. So we'll see that at that point. How is it going on your side of the screen in terms of trading at this stage, folks? Feel free to share with me and let me know. And I don't know, Mark, if we're going to retest the lows for 10 before 10. I'm not sure. What I am sure of is the math is still on point. We're operating exactly the way that I'd anticipated. The plan is, except we've gone a little further lower, but we're trying to stave that off right now. So I'm still, I'm not going to dig my heels in and say it has to play out this way. I'm going to say the plan is largely working. So we should be moving into a sloppy, choppy moment after this little counter trend bounce is complete. It should become a little sloppier and a little choppier, probably underneath the 240-ish area on the NQ, probably in between 75.20 and 75.30 on the ES. But I think that we're going to see on this counter trend bounce a rise into the low to mid 75.20s on the ES. I think we're going to see a rise that can take us from 170 up towards, call it 200, 220 on the NQ. I think that that's a likelier outcome. I don't think it's going to, emerge and break through the sell signal structures on the screen. I think there's another round down coming, which is the one that I could potentially short before 10 a.m. And again, it's going to get a little sloppier, I think. So, think about where you want to use your dry powder for this market morning. I think after 10 a.m., there's going to be a lot more cleaner trading. I think it's going to be a lot cleaner after 10 a.m. And Lisa, I hear you. It was a super early start for me today. It was super early. Lots of things to get done today in my household, and want to also get a good trading day under my belt as well. All right, so let's see where we're at. 30,155 on the NQ, 75.17 on the ES. I'm looking at another screen with the 5-minute charts just against those channels that we were dealing with since June the 25th, the 11:35 p.m. Those channels are broken, right? Potentially, they're done. I'm going to bring that up on screen just as an aside for a moment here while we're waiting for this market to figure itself out. So there's the NQ. There's a channel that we've been operating in since the start of the week, but obviously it started on the 25th of June. You can see that at 11:35 p.m. And we did have a moment back here where we dipped, V-shaped bounce back up, channel was intact. This is a bit different, right? This go around is a bit different. We limped under, we tested the underbelly of the channel and then fell over. This is more likely a break. So that means the uptrending nature of the market from the source of the move on the 25th is probably done. It doesn't mean we can't move into a range and come up to the top of the range, but we're not in the same channel anymore. So I'm going to have Wealth Chart stop it from following price. And then, of course, we'll observe as the morning unfolds here and trade through it as well. Same thing on the ES, by the way. Nothing really different over here overall either. So the insight, stands on both fronts at this moment in time. The channel from 11:35 p.m. Eastern time, the uptrend channel, has broken. Okay, so that means we're in a different type of a move, and that move would be more likely a sideways range. So here we are, right? The market still is not unraveled. It's gotten choppier and sloppier. Okay, exactly as discussed and described in advance. We've seen that chop and slop start to form. We're still attempting to rise to the areas that I've targeted, which I'm going to look at, maybe looking at potential shorts somewhere in and around the 220 area. If we get batted back down, I want to jump on that. And here's the ES. It's coming up to 75.23. It already did, exactly as anticipated in advance. And now the question mark is, am I going to get an opportunity to short this bad boy again before 10 a.m.? Do I even want to? Right. And I'm considering that right now. And Donna, I know it's super early for you every day. from where you are. I hope the weather is treating you well, though. Okay, so here we go. We're getting that pop into the target areas that I had discussed with you. Now the question is it just going to blast off from here, or is it going to come back down? It's likely going to come back down, and I might be able to catch a short. I think I'm going to do it if I see the ES starting to break down below structures of support on that 1 minute chart. 18 is probably the number that I'd like to see it below. I think we've just clipped 18. We tested it, we bounced, so no shorts. Okay, we're rising right now. Should I get on the bandwagon for up? No, I'm late for that, and it would be counter trend anyways, so I'm not interested, right? And very easy to get chopped up. The negative energy has not been overturned. We're not back above structures of resistance yet. We get above 75.32, we're probably going to be smooth sailing higher, but that's not the likely outcome right here, right now. I think we're going back below 18. I want to just see the NASDAQ cooperate with this and drag us down. And I'll probably short the ES below 75.18. I'll probably be able to take more NASDAQ trades that I'd be comfortable with after 10 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to wait. And good morning to everyone that's just logging in now. I see some more good mornings coming in. So good morning, good morning. Okay, so we've already had one profitable trade. We already called out the likely direction in the market. We've already seen that happen. Now the question mark is that dip out of the gates going to be fully overturned before 10 a.m.? Because that'll change a little bit of the dynamics of what 10 a.m.'s data can do. The ISM data that comes out at 10 a.m., the manufacturing data. So this is the epicenter of where it should start to fail in its rise on the ES front and on the NQ front. We're at that location right now. So meaning the counter trend bounce back up. This is where maximum point of failure is here. So I'm going to see if I can short this below 18. If we drop below 18, even in the low 18s, 75, 18 and a tick, 18 and a half, I would be interested in trying to short it on the NQ for those that are brave, 30,160. Okay, so here we go. I'm starting to see some rhyme and reason to my insight. I've hit the short button. Again, I want to be able to maintain this position for that 20 seconds, and I don't want to overturn all of the profit that I made in the beginning of the session, which is now overturned, unfortunately. But the trade is not over yet, so let's see how it goes. Okay, I hit the 20-second mark. I'm seeing it come down. I want to see the NASDAQ falter here. I don't want to see price action back above the center of the 1 minute chart MSR channel. I want to see a direct drop at this stage, which again is what is likely not certain. And hey, look, I'm going to P&L manage. If I don't get this breaking down in short order, I'm going to have to take a small L and then move on to probably cleaner trading after 10 a.m. But let's see if we get something out of this. Right now, it's still trying to decide. It's rising into falling resistance. That negative energy from the opening bell still in play. From the overnight action in the NASDAQ still in play. None of that's changed. Okay, and I'm still waiting, as you can tell, and it's not working out for me. I've held the trade a little longer than I wanted to. I'm going to wait to see if resistance at the top of the channel holds. If it doesn't, I just got to take my L on this one and go. I have to take it and go. I have to take it and go. I have to find that profit elsewhere in the balance of the day. So this was the maximum point of failure. It didn't fail. And it's gone straight up. And we're going right into 10 a.m. with the market retracing the move almost entirely. Now, what does that do? Well, that creates a potential change in what the ISM data could do. Now, we did come up into the resistance structure right here as well. Okay. And we're slowing down, which makes sense. But if we start eating through it and we see things above 75.28, could I join the long? I want to settle myself down after that trade, right? made one, 100 and change on one trade, lost just about 300 on another. So I've got some ground to make up. And I don't want to jump in right away, but you can't argue with the fact that it's broken through maximum point of failure on both sides, ES and NQ. On both sides, it's broken right through. So the opportunity for another move higher directly into 10 a.m. has become cleaner and cleaner potentially. I just don't want to force it at this moment in time. So I'm going to wait and give it a moment. We'll let it breathe and pick my spot. Probably want to save my dry powder for after 10 a.m., but I will pick my spot and see where it can go. Yeah, Gus, with the funded futures family accounts, 20 seconds is the minimum time you have to be in a position for it to count. So what Wealth Charts has done is it's added in the feature where you can, go in. I'll just see if I'm on the right screen for everyone watching. You can go in and hit that little trade setting button, and you can have position time indicator toggled on. All right. It should be natively toggled on, but you can, of course, check it. And if you don't see that menu pop up, then your platform needs to be refreshed. Simple as that. So right here, right now, we're dealing with a market that is coming up on the 5-minute chart into major resistance, but it has broken through structures on the 1-minute chart. We've seen that happen, and we know that effectively it's duplicated ESNQ, very similar. This is another area of potential failure, but follow through as well above 75.32 as discussed. So above 75.32, could I try a long into the end of the hour looking for a run up? We'll see. We're at 30,250, 240-ish, 250, 240. Waiting to see if this ends up being a failure point. If it does end up being a failure point, I'm not really that interested in taking another trade until after 10 a.m., but I might, so I'm waiting. All right, there's potential for failure here, right? If we come back down below 185 on the NQ, 185, 180 in that area, yeah, it can start unraveling again. And we did come right up to 32. We're failing to really bust above it just as of yet. But again, I don't want to jump in with any big trading decisions until I've got a good reason to. All right, so let's take our collective wisdom. I don't want to bias you at all. So I want to just ask a very straightforward question. Post 10 a.m., do you think the market is likely to trend up? Yes or no? Post 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is the ISM data. And you can simply write in yes or no. And again, if we are going to trend up, we are on point with our flight paths. We're on point with the expected market direction that I'd set out for you at the beginning of the week, where you have the initial move for the primary market, the ES, up through 74.75, little wobble, push through, carry forward up to the next volume point of control resistance area, 75.55, poke your hairs above, pull back down to the low 7500s, which we've done, and then get pushed right back up into the 75.50 area or higher. It could be as high as the 75.80 to maybe even 7600 area before the next part of the drop. That's the idea, at least. So right now we're struggling to really get above 32 on the ES. We're holding above 240, very marginally, but holding above it on the NQ side. We passed the point of maximum failure where I tried to short and it didn't work, to see if we could get pulled back down again. And we're starting to see some erosion over here. that is not yet clean enough to say the whole thing comes undone. It's not clean enough just as of yet. And we've got what, about 3 minutes left before we get data. So right now, just kind of, holding pat, waiting, looking for good, consistent market direction, and waiting for all of the votes to settle in from the poll that I just did. And I've got enough responses at this stage, so let me actually count them up. So just bear with me for a moment over here and take a quick look at what folks are thinking overall. The answer, by and large, is yes. It is 75-25 split leaning to yes for those who responded to the question. The question was very straightforward. Do you think after 10 a.m. is the market likely going to trend up? Yes or no? Around 75, 25, 80, 20, leaning to the side of yes from folks who are responding. So, and I appreciate all the votes coming in. I just saw yours come in there, Betsy. Thanks. And Alexis, thank you. All is good. Just waiting now for the data, like the market is. 2 more minutes to go, and the ISM data comes out, and how the market reacts is going to be probably very instructional for where things can go for a little bit beyond 10 a.m., i.e. into midday. So I'm just patiently waiting for that data to come out, and then we'll see where we can take things. I do want to get an idea of what the overall result is expected to be in front of you. So let me just do that right now. Okay. So the expectation is for the ISM manufacturing PMI to present at 53.8, and the price is paid to be at 77.7. If it comes in above 53.8 and below 77.7, that's a Goldilocks type print, and you'd see up and away likely in the market. Let's see. There's lots of ways it can present, so I'm not going to speculate. My view on it is that it's likely going to present as positive, and it can feel an up in the market. We've already had an up right back to the area where we dropped. So that changes things a little bit, because the higher we go before an event, the more likely the event is going to be negative. That's just the law of averages. So I'm going to wait to see how this data breaks in the next 30 seconds. The market's getting pushed up. And look, the higher we go before the event, the more risk there is for down. I know we just voted about 80-20 that the market trends up after 10 a.m. Let's see what the data does. We're almost at that 10 a.m. marker. Hey, Jimmy, nice to see you here. All right. And I'm happy to hear you're going to the gym. That's amazing. Okay, so here we go. Data should be out. What does it say? Well, the market's trying to push up right through the data. So apparently it's come in better than expected. I'm still waiting for the results on my side of the screen here for what the actual numbers are. It actually hit 53.3, less than the 53.8. So it came in marginally worse, but I'm waiting for the prices paid data to come out right now and see what that has to, and the prices paid came in lower at 73 versus 77.7. So inflation risks got tamped down. Growth outlook was not materially damaged. This is not a good enough print to say it's going to carry us up and away and trend us up. Okay, something else would have to be in place. Remember, we've got drags from the stronger dollar. We've got drags from the underperformance of the NASDAQ to overturn. And look, the market has continued to go up over here, so I'm not going to fight that, right? I'm willing to work with that. That's not a problem. I'm willing to work with that. I just need to decide where exactly I'd be comfortable trading it. So if I try a long over here right now, can I get 20 seconds plus out of it? Can I continue to maintain the position and ride it on the NQ or on the ES? I'm above 32. I'm right back up to a high. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm just not comfortable with it. So I am waiting. And if folks are making directional decisions, if you want to share anything, you're more than welcome to. I'm happy to, circle around those comments and let other traders in the room know what some other traders are doing, that kind of thing. Happy to do that, no problem. Looks like a strategy on another account didn't work out for me. That's fine. So I'm waiting now to see whether or not I've got consolidation to continue or not. I'm waiting to see if I get consolidation to continue or not, and I'm still waiting. So it looks like a bull flag. It's at resistance. Okay. It's not yet broken out of the bull flag. We've got buy signals on a 1 minute and a 5 minute chart on the ES and on the NQ. It's on a 1 minute chart, not on a 5. And we still have, lots of resistance on the 1 hour chart to get through. But we've had our reversal. Okay. Getting up and above the 30,300 marker obviously would be a major water line, 30,330 major water line to get up through. I'm considering entering along at this stage. I'm not seeing enough yet that tells me that it's going to be smooth. I'd like to see the NASDAQ get through this area, roughly the 30,300 area, and tell me that it's not going to, surprise me and drag things back down, because the ES is pretty much at a top. So I'm waiting to see if I can get follow through above, above the highs on the ES. I don't need to necessarily wait for the highs to take the trade. I'm waiting for the NASDAQ to take out 30,300. It's been above it already, right? On this 5 minute bar. Okay, I'm gonna try a long on the ES right now. I'm in. It's a 1 contract trade. Okay, let's spread this out a little bit so you can see it more. If the NASDAQ starts to give me some issues, the trade is going to go bunk, right? The NASDAQ can easily drag things back down like it's trying to right now, right? So I'm almost at that 20-second mark. Let's see if we get the up now. There we go. Okay, I'm going to see if I can ride it for a little bit, but I really don't want this trade to go red on me. The NASDAQ is still giving me some trouble. Yeah, it's still stuck. So I'm probably going to take what I can. I am out of the trade with 1 tick of profit. Was very, very concerned, and still very concerned with what's happening right here on the NQ, underneath the center of the MSR channel, the champion trend sell zone trail line. Very concerned about that. So I'm not interested in sustaining the position. But if the NASI takes me back up above roughly 30,300, I can get back into the game, trade it, trade the ES, do both. Okay, let's see. It's making another run for it. ES is trying to come up to highs. ES has been leading to the upside. It just perforated the high by a tick or so. NQ is almost at 300. Almost does not count. I want to see it above. And look, we know where we're headed up to on the ES. We could be headed up to 75.56. So it's another, well, it looks like it's getting a lot more excited. And the NASI's still not punched through 300. Is the ES trying to pull it up? If it does, I might end up switching my strategy to trade the NQ, as I know resistance on the ES is getting closer and closer. We've got one structure at 45, the other structure at 56 for resistance on the ES. So here we go. It's trying to push through. I'm going to see if I can find myself comfortable enough to try it on the NQ, assuming 300 is perforated. It's just not fast enough to punch through, and the ES is pulling it up. I'm going to try it on the ES again. So I got in on the ES. NQ has gotten close enough to try and punch through 300. So I'm taking that Q, and I'm waiting to see if both together now can just reach escape velocity, and up, and away we go. Let's see if we get something out of this that is good, or does it get batted down from the top of its MSR channel here. So our trade's in the money, past the 20-second marker. Would like to see a little bit more than a half a point or 2 ticks on the trade, but certainly want to walk away with something. So carefully watching the NQ and the ES together. It's not working very well right now. Down about 30 bucks, 12 bucks. Let's see if we can get this thing back up. NQ is having some struggles here. There's some warnings. It's testing the fast speed line. It's perforating it on the 1-minute chart. That's a bit of a warning that it might be struggling with this. Its little double top formation, on a under a dozen minutes time frame. But let's see if we get a nice little push up here. There we go. Nice little push up. And let's see if we can keep getting that push. I'm taking my profit. Obviously, repairing a bit of my P&L, which that went a long way to doing. And now looking for my next entry. Also, we came up into resistance at 75.45, which is very easy to see when you're looking at a chart with the pivot levels and the volume profile. 75.45 is a Fibo weekly pivot level. It also is a volume profile resistance node. Okay, above it, which we are maybe a point or so above right now, the next node is sitting at 55 up to 58, or 55 to 59. Right, that's the next node. Okay, and I think with the V-shaped nature of the bounce, we have to say that the channel is still alive on the ES at a bare minimum. So I'm going to get it to keep following price, because then it will offer me a target. If we are able to surmount 45, 58, the next target would be 64, which is the center of that channel from 11:35 p.m. Eastern time on the 25th of June. And obviously we should do this for the NQ as well. Do the same sort of thing. The channel is not alive for the NQ again. It's a V-shaped bounce, but we're not back within the confines of the channel. We've not really taken out that 30,300 marker and sustained above it. So I'm not going to have it follow price just as of yet. All I want to do right now is understand the areas of support and resistance that would matter here. So we know it's 30,300. And the next one is about 350, 360. So 300, 360, and then we're headed up to 415. 300, 360, and 415 would be the challenge lines to climb up through. We're just a few points, handful of points under 300 at this moment. Let's go off this back to our trading layouts. There they are. I'm going to bring back in the 5-minute on the ES over here. So that we can just have some continuity of both indices with both of the time frames there. Okay, so here you go. It keeps trying to poke through 300, and it's struggling. Are we in a good enough buy signal state, across the board to say it just goes? It's not great, but we're getting above 45, and we know that 56 is the next line. There's a 10-point zone tradable on the ES that could be poison pilled by the NQ if it's not able to get above the top of its 5-minute chart channel. But the ES is saying again, I'm going to pull the NASDAQ up, right? It's gotten a couple of points higher. So I'm actually going to try it now as the NASDAQ is punching through again. I got into a long on the ES again, right? The last one was profitable, as you saw. And I like the action that I'm seeing here. This is tradable long, but it's obviously still at its very beginnings of this breakout, right? So I'm using the index that's pulling the NQ up as my trading vehicle. It's in the money nicely. Let's see if I can keep any of this. I'm past the 20-second marker. It's been in force for 32 seconds and more now. Let's see, we get one more push up from the NQ, taking us above the high of the current bar. Otherwise, I'm going to close my trade and capture what profit I can. There we go. Let's see if we can get another big push. All right, that's almost $100 trade. Let's see if we can get more. I'm taking it. Okay, so another profitable trade. So I had one misstep, right? That one trade that, my first trade was like $125 or something like that. The second trade lost about 300. And then I've had a couple of trades come back in to try to get me back to black. I still have a little ground to make up, but as you can see, the insight is working, and I hope the trading is working on your end. So we did a vote. We asked, did a round table. We said, hey, do you think the market's going to trend up, post 10 a.m.? 80-20 split from the respondents in the chat leans to, yeah, we're probably going to go up. And the challenge level that we're trying to get up through for the NASDAQ is stickier. The ES continues to try to pull us up, right? We've got another push up on the ES, likely up to 56. Right, 56 to 50, 55 to 58. My apologies, 55 to 58. And what I'm looking at right now is, slower action that is trying to hold up above, right? Hold up above the 30,300 marker. And if it's able to hold up above the 30,300 marker, the ES can complete the move, or the ES can wait, and the NASDAQ can, start taking control of the tape and giving us a move up. And Mark, I would respond to that question as this is, machines are in control all the time, but if you're looking at like an algorithmic drift, this is not it. This is different, right? This is a short squeeze enhanced by data. And the data was somewhat helpful. It was not it was more than a base hit, certainly not a home run. And Ruth Ann, I just saw your comment on Warsh job owning the market, saying inflation risks have come down. Well, gee, oil did come down, didn't it? So I don't know. I don't know whether or not what that means when it comes from that type of a figurehead is it opens the door for more of a chance for a rate cut if we're going to get one at any point in the future. So that's why Ruth Ann put in there, he's job owning, because she knows it's coming from a person that the market will interpret as, oh, he's got the purse strings, right? So he can loosen them up or he can tighten them up. And if he's job owning inflation down, which is the obvious, oil's come down after what's happened, or what is happening. I think talks are again happening in, where are they happening today? They're I know the Pakistanis and Qataris, I think, are moderating it. I don't know if it's in Doha or somewhere else, but they're talking again. And I think the concentrated area of the talking is really about Hormuz. And does it matter? I think it does. I think it does at the end of the day. It's in Doha, Ahmad? Okay. All right. Let's see where this wants to go. So now, nice to see that, Sultan. So what I'm looking at right now is is a map that's not really given me enough confidence for the NQ to continue on. But I've got consolidation in an uptrend formation on the ES, which is solid. So this buy signal on the 5-minute chart, solid. Buy signal on the 1-minute chart, solid. They're overcooked, so we're not going to be up in the air for too much longer. But you look at the hourly chart and you go, that's bullish, right? Bullish up towards the highs, right? Which is exactly the formation again that we anticipated well in advance of the week starting, right? We were looking for that push up to above 75.50, right? A pull back to the lower 7500s and a push back up to slightly higher highs before the turn down. And my suspicion is that turn down is likely to be linked to the jobs data that comes out, the official Bureau of Labor and Statistics data that usually prints on the first Friday of each month. But obviously, in observance of the big 250 for the US, Friday markets are closed. The data is going to be released tomorrow. So now, and that formation is in play quite well. It's a little harder to see it on the daily chart, exactly how that played out, but it's easier to see it on the 1 hour chart, even going back to the beginning of the week. Right, we came up to the 74.75 water line that was in here. We wobbled exactly as the drawing suggested. We pushed up after that, got up to above the 75.55 line, pulled back down to the lower 7500s, and back up we're going. So it's working really well on point. The insight is we should be making higher highs. I want to trade the long. However, if I want to trade the long, I have to respect the fact that the NASDAQ and the interrelationship between the two indices can become a gift, or it can become a problem. And right now I have to lean to it's likely a problem. Right, we're below 30,300 on the NQ. We poked our hairs above, but we weren't able to sustain. So at one point, there's going to be an election here where more supply comes into the market because folks don't think that they're going to get anything more for what they bought. But that point has not been met. That would be in the lower 200s for the NQ, the 230-ish area or lower. So right now it's just a wait. Let's just do a temperature check of folks in the room. Let me know how things are flowing for you in your chats. You can just let me know with a lucky number 7 if everything is going well. If there are questions that are coming in, of course, I would love to be there to answer all sorts. I'm trying to answer the ones that I can along the ride. And then, of course, between 11 and 11:30, we'll do a little debrief and get a good sense of what the morning has told us about the balance of the day and the balance of the week as well. So we're still struggling to get and hold above 30,300 on the NQ, and it is starting to cause problems for the ES. There's no question about that, right? There's no question about that at this stage. We've not broken down far enough to say the attempt to get above 3,300 is gone. That's for sure. We haven't broken structures on the 1-minute chart to say that. So right now, the NQ is still struggle busting its way up, at least trying to. And I'm going to consider a long on the ES, similar to the last profitable one I took. Hey there, Michael. Michael K. To those that are looking for the next market move, in as few words as possible, NASDAQ above 30,300, ES long up to 56, 58. And let me refine that. NASDAQ above 30,313, right? Top of the MSR channel. ES long to the mid to high 50s. So right now, right here, it's just not worth it to try. Like, this can be consolidate to continue on, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, we're trying to get above the high of the pattern on the ES. That's 52 and a tick. But we're still below, let's call this the in the now waterline for the NQ, 30,313, 314. We need to be above there, and it's not working. So this can drag the ES down. Now they're going to be fighting with each other, right? You got an indecision print on the 1-minute candle on the ES. You had a bearish print on the last 1-minute bar on the NQ. Okay, are they going to join forces, work together, up and away we go? Or is this going to be the place where there's not enough performance and we plunge? I got you, Ruth Ann. All right, it looks like folks in the last round of temperature check are doing well. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. Being more stoic makes more sense. George, I got your comment too. All right, we're again making an attempt. Okay, let's see if this one works. I'm going to try the ES right now. Okay, on the fact that we're making an attempt, okay, which is kind of how I did the other trades. We've broken the pattern top. I just need to get that NQ well above 313, and it's just not cooperating. So, hey, look, this if this does not want to work out, I'm going to risk manage myself out sooner than later. Right now, I'm still holding the position as I'm still seeing the NQ hold speed lines on the 1 minute chart and try to push up above the speed lines on the 5. But if we do not get a imminent push back up, this can turn into a $100 loser, which it already is at. I have not capitalized it yet, so I'm waiting for some clarity here. But the risk is that we're very overbought, and this can be a negatively divergent high that ends up rolling over. It's the NQ that can pull it back up. And again, it's at 300, right? It's at 300. It's just struggling to stay above. So I'm still in it, but getting more disheartened by the action unless we get above the top of that 5 minute chart MSR channel. So my finger's on the trigger to exit and minimize damage if this does not cooperate. I'm expecting a continuation attempt up that can get this trade, working for me. Okay, there we go. We got something. Some life's coming back into it, but it's still not above. Right now, it's trying to hit the top of the channel. Now it's trying to perforate the top of the channel. Is it going to pull the ES up with it? And what I'm speaking of specifically is right there, right? Get above 33.13, pull the ES up, continue the move up into the mid to upper 75 50s, and get a good trade out of it. Or not, right? We have to be prepared for this not to work. And again, the or not may be becoming real. If I see this bar go red on me, I think I'm going to have to get out of the way below the speed lines. So 51 and 3 ticks gets perforated. I go away. I go away. There's a certain amount of time that it can take to do it. It might still do it. I might be left behind, but I have to be able to manage my P&L during the day. So I was in the trade for longer than I wanted to be to begin with, and I did not see the NQ push up through here. So taking a small L, much more preferable than, a $200-300 hit. If it makes another stand, I'm going to try the trade one more time. I'm not extraordinarily enthusiastic about it, but I am going to give it a good college try if that does present. Just taking a look around the neighborhood a little bit, get a sense of what the market's telling us overall. So I'm just doing that on another screen. And I know someone asked a question about VWAP rejection. I don't want to bring too much on VWAP into the conversation here, but if you look at where we're placed against VWAP cones starting at 9:30 in the morning, we're at the top of them. So we're in the area where either we perform and go parabolic or we plunge. And if we're plunging, one wants to be very clear as to where we can go down to. So the obvious on the ES would be around the 45, 46-ish area. On the NQ, it would be 260. And again, I don't want to give up on the idea of up, and away. I just need to see the door really being opened by the NQ above 315. Okay, so it's trying again. It's done this for the last 20 minutes more. And it has not broken back down. So I'm going to give this another try right now. Okay, I'm trying it one more time. So I'm in the trade. I know that we have not broken it, but the attempt is what I'm using. the attempt to get the NQ over. If one wants to wait for it to confirm, wait for it to confirm and see a 5-minute bar or at least a 1-minute bar close above 315. But if one can handle the risk, then manage it accordingly, which is what I'm doing right now. And I want to see if this is the chance where the NQ pushes through that resistive structure. Okay, it's already perforated it. You know, the door is ajar, but we need to walk right through it and continue onwards here. And it's not happening. And this trade might end up having to go away like the other one. I'm still holding it right now. We're still not in that spot where we've attempted to mean revert down to the rising VWAPs on the day so far. We still have the NASDAQ on a 1-minute chart, you know, struggling, but still holding above the speed lines and trying to make that push up. This is like a coil, right? So all of that energy is being built in right now. And John G, that's correct. 54 is a challenge area, but we've already come up, you know, to that area in this market prior. I'm not going to pull the chart back, but we have. We've been up at what, 68? I think we got up to, or somewhere in that area yesterday. Okay, so the trade's now almost profit positive. It was a moment ago. I'm not seeing it sustain profit positivity, and I'm seeing the NASDAQ show me some more risk right now. If the NASDAQ makes a lower low versus the low of the last 1-minute bar, I'm probably going to just get the heck out of the way. Slim pickings up at highs, right? We've already had a rush back up. Okay, so we've seen the NASI make the same low as the last 1-minute bar. If it's going to come down and make a lower low, I'm not interested in being in the trade on the ES because it can drag the ES lower, which it just did. So an exercise in risk management always can be a valuable lesson, a valuable tactic to make sure that you don't sit there hoping that something turns around. I know what I'm going after. I was going after 75.53 to about 58. Right? That's where I was going after. I know that the roadblock was the NASDAQ not getting above 30,315. I took the trade on the umpteenth attempt for us to, you know, make that stand. And it may present itself again. I don't know. And Jeff S., I think you're asking about the subchart indication over here. The subchart indication that you have on screen here is not the Spike 2.0. It's the triple S indicator. Okay, so that's my proprietary super swing signal indicator for intraday and swings intra-week, intra-month, intra-quarter. And right now, what is it saying? We've already swung. On a 1-minute time frame, we're in the area where it's cooked. So if it's going to work, we need to see the triple S line itself, the red line, shoot above the top of the channel and tell us it's going to pull the 5-minute chart signal into a buy signal state, which we are not in from a triple S standpoint on the NASDAQ. And on a 1-hour chart, we are, okay? We are in a buy signal state, but we've eroded after coming up to the top of the channel. Now, think about the channel as geography. The upper half of the channel is enemy territory. The lower half of the channel is homeland. Think about the slow momentum line, the blue line, as the king and the queen. Think about the dashed white line as the generals. And think about the red line as the soldiers. So what happens? Well, the soldiers are instructed by the generals, confirmed by the king and the queen, to launch a campaign to conquer the enemy territory in the upper half. That's already happened. It's done, right? They've already done that. Why is the king and the queen in enemy territory? Well, it's their land now, and they're on a victory tour. So is the victory tour over? The soldiers have talked to the generals, and this is on a chart that projects out 3 to 6 hours, right? The soldiers have talked to the generals, and the generals apparently have sent the soldiers down. I don't know that we're going to see a continued unravel until I see the soldiers breach that barrier between quadrant 4 and quadrant 3 of this 4-quadrant channel. And that's where that pink line is right there. So if price action starts to weaken a little further, you know, I've got the champion cross indicator firing off a red dot on the current live bar. I've got technical damage from the channel. It's gone magenta. We're below the speed lines, the fast speed lines below the slow. We've got a bearish reversal wick. You're seeing things come unglued. And we're coming down to an area where if we break on a 1 minute chart, 230, shorting becomes likely something that will work out very well. Likely, not certainly, likely. So at this moment in time, I'm just working it at this moment in time. I'm not doing anything too crazy. Just working the insight and seeing if I can get something out the door on a trading front with you. But waiting patiently for the action to be deserving of it. And I don't have it there yet. So right now, I'm going to flip the view back to that 5 minute, 1 minute type time frame here. Could a short work here? Very likely. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sustain it for very long. So it might not be one that counts, but I'm going to try one right here, right now on the NQ. And if I get zipped back up above 232, I don't get to stay in this trade. I'm trying to hold on to it for as long as I can. I've got downside pressure. And I just need to see that dump now down into the teens, the 200 and teens. Otherwise, I could get this thing ripping right back up on me, and I would not want to be in the trade. It is in a sell signal state, 5 minute, 1 minute's there, but unfortunately, it is not cooperating, and that's the risk on the NASDAQ. So if it comes back down again right now, could one try trade again? Sure. But again, you're caught now in an environment that's a lot choppier, a lot sloppier than I'd anticipated. And we're not seeing that uptrending direction work. So for me now, it's a bit of a waiting game. So we're still holding support on the ES of the channel, 43. NQ is trying to pressure us down. The dip that we're on right now is significant enough to say it can pull us further. We're right at the, still in the gravity well of support of the channel on the 1 hour chart, but not holding it very well. And below the 230-ish marker, there is more risk to downside. Exactly, George, right? We had the sideways action after 10 a.m. predominantly, and now we're starting to unravel, right? But we actually don't know that it's unraveled yet. So if we're going to go back down again and sell, it's in line with the signal on the 5 minute chart. Want to see that signal, reinforced on the 1 minute chart. And then I can try another quick short side trade on the ES or the NQ. The ES is trying to hold its 1 minute charts channel, which can stave off the NASDAQ from rolling over, right? So the interplay between the two is very important in today's market. But look, it's hard to argue with that. Lower low. In fact, I might be able to just use that to take the ES trade below 43.5. We're at 44. I'll wait for the channel to breach. Because the NASDAQ can get more enthusiastic and it can end up being something that does not follow through, like we saw on the way up, right? It tried to get about 315 so many times. And I toiled against that and it didn't end up working out. I'm going to try the short on the ES now. We breached the bottom of the channel again. My exit point on the short was executed at 75.43 and a tick. My exit point will have to be above 45 and about a half a point. I'm watching the NASDAQ to see if the enhanced sell signal remains in play and I get to keep the trade. If not, it has to go away. And when I look at the plain close chart of the NQ and the ES at this moment in time, we've come down below the center of mass of resistance, which would be around 290. Okay. And if we're looking for where we're coming down to right now, the last time we were here and it acted as a level was back over here, and still a lower point, like 190s, somewhere in that area. My trade's probably out of the money right now. It is. It's out a little too much out of the money, unfortunately. Is there any reversion back down from here? If not, I'm gonna have to take it off the board. I missed my exit by getting distracted, which happens. Yeah, I think it's time to pull this off the board. I need to see the action on the NQ tell me that it actually wants to go back up. Otherwise, this will bearishly reverse. NQ's at 247, 48. I'd like to see it below 240. If it's above 250, no thank you. I don't want to be in the trade. And at this stage, it's a choppy, sloppy market without too much there. Okay, so I'm still waiting and watching very carefully for whether or not another opportunity presents or not. We shall see. And now it's struggling its way back up into falling resistance. On the 5-minute chart, it's reaching a ceiling, which is going to be harder to get through for the NQ. But if it's above 280, back to the same game as earlier, right? Can it take out 315 and up and away can we go? The ES has bounced, obviously, strong off the bottom of the channel. Double green dots are there. Triple S is in a buy signal state. We're coming right back up into highs. And is it making a stand at this stage is the NASDAQ making a stand to launch above 30,310, 315? And can it give us a sharper move up and away? And Ravi, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And you can toggle that on and off, right? So you can just go to the trade settings and you can toggle that on and off, right? So it's right in and around here. So I'm not seeing any great reason for another execution. I see the NASDAQ coming back up towards, the major resistance channel. It is not yet surmounted 315. It tried from 10 a.m. all the way till 10:30. Then it failed. The failure failed. It failed to take us and drop us completely down. It's trying to make another move back up to it. I don't want to take the trade on its attempt to move back up anymore. I only want to take it when it's above. So for me, I'm going to be waiting for a little while. There are others that may want to be able to take the trade prior to that. One thing that can be a piecemeal decision over here would be to trade the ES above the local high if the NASDAQ is still on. But I've done that before as well. It worked out 2 out of 3 times. So I am considering that, but again, I'm not hoping for that outcome. I'm not cheerleading one side or the other. I'm just gonna be prepared for it in the case that it does emerge above 75.54, as John G was saying in the chat. Now you're seeing these little sell zone plaques come in on the 5-minute chart on the NQ. That's the champion trend indicator. The champion cross indicator is the more opaque zone in the background. It's that red zone in the background. That's alive. Champion trend is alive. It's failed to get above the high. It's starting to get whacked back down. Can I take a short? The NASDAQ is saying is going to be very difficult. We come down below the low, roughly 30,200. I don't really have a reason not to try a short at that point. I could do it on the NASDAQ directly. I could do it on the ES. And remember that 30,200-ish area, give or take 30 points around it, is a support structure on the 1 hour chart, right? So right now it's trying to come down below the 230 marker. ES is coming down into the upper half of the rising channel. When it's in the lower half, I'll be interested in potentially trying that short. NQ is getting hammered a little more, but it hasn't taken out the low. And this could very easily then resolve into a bounce back right back up, right? So I don't want to mess around with it. I'd rather take the trade below the center of the 1 minute chart channel on the ES as a short, 75.47, or below 75.45. If I want to short the NQ, it would have to be below 200 or 180 in that territory. The sell signal is there. It is hammering down towards the low. But each time it dips its toes into that water, it backs right up. And it is the ES that's actually staving off the decline in the NASDAQ, if you look at the rhythm and the pattern. So the ES is trying to bounce back up towards highs. It's staving off the unravel in the NQ. If the ES fails to get to the high or higher, back down we would go for the NQ. And it would be the cleaner short, which I will try if we start to see failure here. So nothing too eventful just as of yet. The S&P minis are trying to come back up towards the resistance ceiling in the low to mid 75.50s. Doing a fairly good job of that. Staving off a decline in the NQ. That's interesting, Emad. Okay, 54 has been breached. NQ is still a drag. Dare I try the ES on the long above 54 without the NQ support? It's a hard bargain. So I'm gonna have to wait it out. And look, we're in a range effectively. If we now come back down below 49, 48, we could look for a trade down to 44, 43. And we are starting to breach the 200 marker, which can open the door for a short on the NQ. Want to be careful with it. But I'm thinking there is one here. I'm going to try it. I'm in. And I am in the money, 260. I want to see if we can keep getting this going. I want to see if I can make it to the 20-second marker and get that profit going. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. And thank you very much. $475 trade on the short side on the NQ on the breach of that area as discussed. The ES did not break the 1 minute charts MSR channel bottom. Did anyone else get that trade? It was a great one. And there's another round of it likely coming. Okay, the ES is now punching through support. Okay, so now below, let me just flip to the 5 minute chart here. The door is open to come down in towards 37. So 6 points on the table, 7 points on the table. Oh, wow. Lots of folks got a piece of it. I hope folks got a piece of it. Oh, you heard me set it up and then execute it. And I was able to squeeze out that 20 seconds of time, waiting for, the ticker to go, and then make the trade happen. Perth, I'm happy to hear that. Rodney, Gus, happy to hear it. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right, Carlos. So the way that the triple S indicator works is it gives you more durability for the move. Crosses that happen are what's really going to make the difference. But if you're looking at one chart in isolation and it's a chart of one individual Mag 7 stock, you have to know what the rest of them are doing, right? Because it can be take from Peter to pay Paul. Things can change around very quickly. So the NASDAQ, if you look at it on the 1 minute chart, let's just expand the 1 minute chart here for the NQ and expand it on the ES as well. Okay. So they both have the triple S indicator on screen on the sub chart, right? On chart, I've got the champion trend pack on the NQ here. I've just got the MSR channel here on and speed lines on the ES. But look at the differential in the position, right? The soldiers, red line, triple S line itself is below the generals and the king and the queen and breached into the lower half of the channel, right? Always follow the narrative. A campaign was launched. The soldiers were told by the generals, soldiers red, generals white dash line, were told to go conquer land. They confirmed it with the king and the queen when they crossed above. All of this happened in the lower half of the channel, which is homeland. The upper half of the channel is enemy territory. They got above the enemy gates right there. They conquered the land for their king and the queen, and then they went flatline. They brought the king and the queen for a victory tour. And now what they're trying to do is bring them back home. So they're trying to drag the blue line back home. So the soldiers say, if the soldiers sustain in the lower half of the NASDAQ's 1 minute chart channel, it's going to drag the king and the queen back home. If they sustain in the upper half, the victory tour is still happening, right? So that's the binary thought on the 1 minute chart on the NQ. Right now, the victory tour is still happening. And then when I couple it with the insight on the market that's doing better than the NASDAQ, which is the S&Ps, not declining as fast, we haven't had a bearish cross yet that's sustained, right? But we are in the same sort of picture here. Campaign launched, everything was conquered. They're in a victory tour. They're sent down by the generals to the king and the queen to drag them home, but we still haven't seen them do that. So perhaps they just, intersected with the king and the queen line. The red line is the soldiers, blue line is the king and the queen, dash black line is the generals. Perhaps they just intersected with them and the king and the queen said, no, I want to see a little bit more of my new property. And the victory tour is still on. So it's a unique narrative to help manage, because if one likes the analogy that trading is war, this is built for that. Okay, we're moving into the last 10 minutes of the trading time of our morning session. Had one amazing trade on the NQ there that went a long way for me, and it was mid triple digits in terms of profit, which was really good. Looks like a bunch of folks came in and said, hey, they also took advantage of it and got a good piece of it. So I'm happy to hear that. But look, you're not in a market week now anymore that is going to be extraordinarily active on the up and away side. Data is now in the rear view mirror, right? The headlines that come out of the geopolitical stuff, that's already priced into oil down. The stronger dollar, weaker euro, the weakness in the NQ versus the ES are drags on the market. And are there any other catalysts that say up and away, right? And the answer is no. I don't have any calendarized catalysts for that. So could we expect this market to chop around? Yeah. Okay, so let's just go back to where the morning started. So we had a slip. Okay, and then we started the turnaround, which I did not see as it was going to be very likely we get all the way back up to the waterline. It did. So that biased me as a trader, because I was in a counter trend bounce until I wasn't, and it took a long time to get through structures And then it was very choppy as it started to move up. These are 1 minute bars, so that it's a great expression of how much chop. You see wicks and tails everywhere, not solid bars. There are wicks and tails everywhere. So right now, what do we know? Okay, we had a water line that we dropped down from pre-market. We established a floor around 30,100 to 30,150, somewhere in this area. Center of mass would be around 140. And by the way, we came and tagged that very recently at 1046, and we're bouncing back up to the top of the range. So now I've got the ES coming up towards the high of local high that was made right there at 1044. I've got the NQ trying to bust above structures of resistance on a 1 minute chart. I just want to corroborate it with the 5 minute chart and then go, is it as enthusiastic as it looks? Can we actually slice right up through things right now and get right back up to the highs? And the answer is no. The NASDAQ 5 minute chart, I can clearly see us coming into falling resistive structures, the champion cross sell zone, the bottom of the MSR channel. So that's problematic. Is that similar for the ES? No. The ES is in a better spot. It just has highs to contend with. It's well above its channel on the 5 minute chart. The NASDAQ is under its channel on the 5 minute chart. So could the ES end up pulling the NQ up? Yeah, it's done a lot of that today. So what's the next move, next play? 75.54, the long is alive. 75.55, the long is alive, up to where? Up to yesterday's session highs or higher. That would be the idea. Otherwise, no trade. If the short is going to become a reality again, we need to see some concrete signs of failure on the NASDAQ, and the concrete signs of failure have to take us down at least below 190 on the NQ, and then, of course, 140. 190 and 140 would be the best two short below markers for the NQ at this stage. Look, the indications are saying the victory tour is still on, right? On that 1 minute chart, the victory tour is still on both sides, on the ES and on the NQ. So I have less problems with the 5 minute chart on the ES because I'm above the channel. So I'm just going to nix it off the screen. Just keep the 1 minute going over here. And we know, look, 74.55, the long is alive. Probably better to be taken on the ES than the NQ because the NQ is rising into falling resistance. And as we get closer to the end of the hour, the market has to deal with the volume that has to come off the tape. So from the Eurozone volume and from North American strategies that stop ticking away and trading at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So at that point, into the end of this hour, we have to kind of assess, how's the market positioned? It is more short position, believe it or not. And if we don't see more down, it can see a trickle up. I don't think it'll be a launch up, but it can see a trickle up into the end of the hour. And right now it's in stasis, 4 bars in a row, just going sideways, 4 1 minute bars in a row, going sideways on the NQ. Same on the ES on a 1 minute chart. So nothing really to do here that's of good consequence for up, and away just yet. 75.55, the long is alive. We're not there yet. And even if we get above 75.55 on the ES, the NQ is still facing resistance of the channel. It's not clear until it's above 30,300. And we're still a ways away from that at this stage. All right, temperature check of the room. How did the morning go overall for folks? How were the insights for folks? Is each day that you spend more time here starting to build more insight to you and give you a cleaner line of sight to decisions, right? So what I want to do is arm you with the info, give you the probable setups, execute what I can, and then, of course, hope that the toiling has resulted in some light bulbs going off on the other side of the screen and some opportunities being seized. That's the idea, at least. Yeah. Okay, looks good. All right, some nice feedback coming in. And Simon, that's the hard part for today, right? Balancing out off both makes the difference at the end of the day. Fuad, I see you put the light bulb emoji in the chat, so thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And I'm just looking around here to make sure that everything is all good. Hey, 007. Nice to see you there too. I see I see your Bubba Gump shrimp, Forrest Gump little emoji there. And this is one of those moments, right, where Forrest needs to run free and break free from the shackles, but the shackles are the NASDAQ. Forrest is the ES. Will the shackles come off? Only if the NASDAQ's above 230 and then 300. And we're not. So is there one more trade to be had over here? I'm really considering it. I'm considering it with both hands and both feet, all fingers, all toes. And don't want to get caught in a trap, but if the NASDAQ wants to weaken, it can actually create enough of a drag the risk of it being whipped back up if the ES pops above the high is a concern, but it is a drag. It can work as a trade. And it's a short below 180 in general on the NQ. And the drop could be down to 140 to 130. And we're getting very close to the end of the hour, so take great care. Right? If it starts ripping back up above 180, I'd want to get out of the way of any shorts. I'm not taking it here. It's still staying below 180 and it's getting hammered back down. That bar makes the lower low. We probably will see a spill that could take it down to the 140 to 130 area very quickly. Okay, it's starting to breach. And let's see if that breach makes a difference. There's 155. Okay, so the short is alive down to about the 140-ish area to 130. Somewhere in here is likely going to be where it pauses at a minimum. And I think that's the cue to say, take that small little profit, which was, you know, fairly decent, right? We made the move from 170 down to 155. Sorry, 145. My apologies. So that was a pretty decent little move right before the end of the hour. So now we are going to move into the third segment of our morning session here, where we start off with a little bit of a read of the market, a bit of an intelligence pre-market briefing. Then we move into live operations from 9:30. So that's from 9:15 to 9:30. And then from 9:30 to about 11 a.m., it's live trading, of course, answering questions along the way, providing you with strategies, insights, outlook. And then from 11 to 11:30, it's really the lessons that were learned and, of course, answering questions that you may have. There can be questions of all sorts. They can go down to, hey, how do I use a particular layout? How do I use wealth charts to do X, Y, or Z? All the way to analyze this particular position or this stock and give me your outlook on it. So we're going to take a quick pause here. I do need to take, I would like to take a quick bio break. I just want to go grab another cup of green tea, and we'll come right back to it. So let's take a quick pause. I should be back here by 11:05 a.m. Eastern time at the latest. And I'll put a little board up that says that. And hang tight. I'll be back here very shortly and we'll continue the conversation. So if you've already got questions and you want to start typing them into the chat, feel free to do that now so I can start come back and understand what I'm going to be working through and be as effective as I can for you. All right, stay tuned, folks. I'll be back here very, very shortly. We have seen the NQ mount another attempt up. It has come up above the 230, 240-ish area. The ES pulled it up. The ES has now made higher highs. So it's been more consistent. And it's still clearly interested in helping the NQ out. The NQ needs to get up and above roughly 30,300 in order to fully join the party. But now we're in a move with the S&P E-minis that can take us up to the 75.69-ish area, 75.69-ish area. So I hope that I hope that that's been good for those who have been trading it. Amazing. I just got back from a very quick break over here, so my focus right now is going to be give you the goods on where I think things are likely going to go, review the lessons that we got from the morning, and then go from there. Ruth Ann, I love your lessons learned. Prognosticators are never wrong, just early. Two, the market is going to do what the market is going to do, regardless of what I think. I agree. I see that each day. Listen to Jedi Master or Sensei Z. Well, I appreciate that, but those that can speak clearly to you, I guess that'll work, and hopefully that works out. Well, I like those lessons learned, Ruth Ann. Thank you for that. All right, for now, I see some questions that have already come in. So I'm going to do my best to answer some of them. And here we go. So at this stage, I want to just do two things. Okay. Number one, where are we going? Then what happened this morning that we can learn from, and then answer the questions that have been posed in the chat. So as far as where are we going, I still I'm going to go back to the exact same thing that we started the session with at the beginning of the day and at the beginning of the week, really. Which is really all about the flight paths that I'd drawn out for you and giving you some insight on. So we sold down last week below a water line, 75.75, and we weren't able to emerge back up above it and hold above it, from Tuesday onwards last week. We ended up in a deeply oversold state. We did not come down and take out the lows from the end, from the June 9th to 11th. We held above those lows. The insight into the end of last week was that we're probably going to start off with an oversold bounce in the market that does not give us enough to take us all the way back up to highs, but gets us near. So there are two flight paths that came out from the analysis. One was flight path A, the other one was B. We decided very quickly flight path B was the one that we were on. That happened on Monday. And we saw the push up. We saw the wobble around the 75.75 area. We then saw the follow through yesterday up to above the next water line, which is at the 75.56 area. We saw that first top or parabola shape form in the overnight session pre-market. We got pulled down to the lower 7500s, and now we've pushed back up again. Now comes the question, do we still just keep trending up from here, or do we follow flight path B? We need something to actually act as a bearish catalyst that can knock the ES off its perch as well. The NQ's been damaged enough that it doesn't require a whole bunch of cajoling over here to roll over. The ES has to stop its helping of the NQ because they have the same listings in between them in terms of the Mag 7 stocks. But the S&Ps, of course, have got more balance in terms of the economic sectors it represents. It's got more stuff in it that the NASDAQ doesn't. So we're seeing outperformance from the everything else market, helping the NASDAQ out. But the NASDAQ is still worse for wear, to start the day. So do I think that this down is coming today? I don't think so. I think that the catalyst is going to have to be something big. Could we see a little erosion? Sure. Are we going to see a 100-point drop, or a 150-point drop on the ES on the day? No, I highly doubt that. Stranger things have happened, sure, but that's not what the indications would say at this stage. So let's go and look at the actual structure of the market. So what you're looking at right now is effectively Sunday night, Monday, yesterday, and today. Okay, and you're looking at it on daily bars. So it looks a little different than, the double toppy type formation over here, right? A little different than that. But if we break the chart down into hours or even 4-hour bars, it becomes really apparent what has happened. So I'll just do that for you very briefly here. Let me just break that out. So if you look at it from the hourly bar standpoint, okay, so go back to last week. Okay, go back to the end of the week, go back to the oversold bounce starting. The oversold bounce starting, of course, at a futures open Sunday night on the 28th, right there. So green bar got pushed up, 74.30s, which was a critical line, by the way, line in the sand for the week around the 74.35 area. Continued to graduate up until we got up to the 74.75-ish area. Had lots of wobbling, right? Big tails, big wicks, right in and around that area. And then we followed through to the upside to make our first high in terms of the forecasted outcome, first high. And then we pulled back, lower 7,500s, push right back up again. It's this part of the market move that is still mathematically likely. Is that going to happen here and now today? Or is it something that waits for tomorrow? I think it's going to wait for tomorrow. Okay, now that doesn't mean we can't have slight erosion, but I would not be expecting the primary market, the S&Ps, to come down and break down below the bottom of the channel again and take out 7,500. I highly doubt that that will be the case. So I think that we're probably going to be stuck in what will look similar to what happened right over here. And I think that we probably will hold above the 75.35, 75.40-ish area, into the midpoint of the day, into the midpoint of the afternoon even. Things can change a little bit into the end of the day, but I would assume more money is still going to be put to work as fresh money does become available and is needed to be put to work for funds out there on the beginning of the quarter. Okay, and beginning of the first half of the year, second half of this year. So let me just put it now and kind of dock it into a way where we can have a projection for the here and now. 1 minute charts in a buy signal state, 5 minute charts in a buy signal state. We're a little stretched in terms of where the soldiers are on that 5 minute chart. So we're not going to sustain up here for very much longer. The 1 hour chart's also stretched at this stage. I think that we'll have some drift, and we will probably see a higher high than yesterday's highs before it's all said and done. So let's see if we can project to where that would be. Obviously, it would have to be above 75.68. But I'm just going to use a couple of time frames here to understand what we could be attracted to. It really is anywhere between 75.60 and 7600. But there are some stopping points. One of the stopping points would be around the 75, 76-ish area, which is what I would say is the next likely area we can move up to. The current signals on a 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, 1 hour chart are all lined up for up we go on the S&P E-minis. 75, mid 70s to upper 70s is the next area that the ES is likely to move up to. Are longs valid to hold? At this stage, the answer is, well, we're above 60 to 61. Answer is yes. Are longs good to initiate? And again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what the math says and what the indications say. 75, 65 or higher would be the initiate long above line from where we are right now. What does this look like for the NQ at this stage? And what's the outlook over there? Let's go get that all solved. So daily chart first. I'm just going to make this full screen. Okay. If we look at the daily chart, we're not in one of those kill zones or anything like that, right? We've got rising support underneath price. We're above the top of the 3-line channel, the moving support and resistance channel. We're in a buy signal state, but the NASDAQ is having a bit of a drag, right? We're seeing money allocated to other sectors rather than focused in on the Mag 7 stocks because of the concern of valuation, the concern of their debt, and the debt that's been accumulated. Speaking of the hyperscalers in particular. Bottom line, though, is it's in a buy signal state on a daily chart. It has not come down below levels on the daily chart to say the whole thing will unravel. Now, that's all the way down in the 29,930, 925-ish area. Somewhere in and around here, let's call it 900, just for ease of communication. If you see the NASDAQ come down below 29,900, it is a very clear signal that there's going to be direct and continued more downside risk. It can come right down to it, still bounce. It needs to come down through it, 29,900. And then you've got, 29,580, 600 as your next major area that it can come down to. So that would be an area that it could come down to. Okay. So I want to make sure that's pretty clear. I see some lively posts there, King, in the chat, and I'm going to look through them in a second. It is a battlefield, that is for sure. Okay, so now what I'm gonna simply say to you is, if I've got the ES still trying to pull price up, right? We still have that happening. That hasn't gone away. We did that work a moment ago. We're still above 75, 60 on the ES, so longs are still valid as hold. Above 65, they're looking at either building them or initiating new ones. Can become a thing above 65, and we just poked above 65, by the way. So the ES is going to help the NASDAQ stave off a more painful decline. Is it going to be able to turn it around? It's had all morning where the majority of the volume is, was already, and it didn't do it. It just staved off a further decline. So my answer is no, it's not going to be able to. We're probably going to see the rise in the ES go up another 10 to call it 14 points from where we are trading right now. We're at 75.65. So we could see it in the mid to high 70s as diagnosed, and it can pull the NQ back up into the low to mid 300s. That would be the idea. But look at that 4-hour chart. Look at the daily chart. Buy signal state, but it's weakened. It's not off the table though, right? We perforated the fast speed line. We haven't even tagged the slow speed line. That's there, but again, a daily chart is going to set down those big technical tracks, but it's not necessarily going to help us within the now. The 4-hour chart tells us in the now we've got resistance right above our head at 300. Okay, we know that. We go to the 1-hour chart, and we can get more definition on the resistance structures that we are rising up into. The center of the channel, 285. The top of the channel, 330. Okay, so I want to keep the 285 and 330 in mind. And then I want to flip it over to a chart that forecasts out the next 20 to 90 minutes and see what it's telling us. It's telling us that while we're above roughly 300, okay, we are likely to see a rise that can take us to this next resistance barrier at 355. Okay. So then as long as the ES is still trying to push us up, and we're at 75.67 right now on the ES. So it's continuing up exactly as diagnosed. And it's pulling the NQ up with it. So now comes the question of execution. If one wanted to execute along, the ES is smoother and more stable. The NASDAQ has more opportunity, but comes with more risk. So has more reward potential on the way up, right? We could see the mid 300s. And that's probably where we're headed up to, in the 340 to 360-ish area on the NQ, from where we are right now. Right, so for those who are interested in the next move, I think that that's the case. I don't think that we're going to be coming down and breaking down wholesale in the market today. I think the ES could see erosion that could take it into the 75, 50 to 40 area, but I don't think we're going down into the lower 7500s as the day progresses. On the NQ, it is a little bit weaker in its position overall, but like I said, unless we're coming down below 29,900, and that's 400 points away roughly, unless we're coming down below it, we don't have a clean enough insight to say the whole thing will unravel. The NASDAQ does have more downside risk embedded in it on the day, so I would be more careful once we've reached a maximum point of buying, which I think is somewhere around 75 to 75, 75, roughly 7 more points, 8 more points higher than where we are right now on the ES. I think we're going to see it use up the remaining bullish fuel it has. The NASDAQ might take over for a little bit. And I think the NASDAQ is going to see at minimum 30,330, 340, okay, from pretty much where we are right now. So those are your insights for projections. As far as questions go, I know there was a question that was asked about wealth charts regarding horizontal scrolling. I want to see who that came from and see if I can answer that question. So the direct answer, if you want to change the scroll, the vertical scroll, to be the horizontal scroll to pinch and prod at the charts, you'd have to do that on the software side of your actual device. There's no way to do that. But horizontal scrolling does work on wealth charts for dashboards, right? So if I want to cycle through the dashboards up here, I'm horizontal scrolling on my mouse right now. If I horizontal scroll on the chart, no. That would have to be done on device. I don't think that there's a way to do that from the software that I am aware of. So I'll leave that as the answer to that question. And I know that there was another question or so there somewhere So I want to see if I can, dot the I's, cross the T's on that. But you've got the you got the lay of the land, you got the forecast, you got the lesson on the day, you got the projection out, and off we go. And is that, I'm trying to read your name. The question is it easy to do copy trades and wealth charts? It's super easy. It's super easy, right? You literally are able to go over to the trade copier and engage away. Let me see if I can do that right now. Give me a second here. So I'm just going to do this on another instance of wealth charts that I have open. Okay, so give me a second to get that up on your screen all proper. Okay, so all I did was go to the trade copier, which I can find by going to the hamburger menu, going over here, just type in trade copier, and you can literally drag that on, which I did. So once you've done that, you're all good to go. You now have to just configure it, right? So over here, I've got some accounts. I can select which account I want as the leader account. Of course, add the symbol in. And then I can tick off, I'm not going to explode open all the accounts over here, but I can explode open the accounts then, and I can tick off the accounts that follow the leader. And you have the ability to do it with different sizing as well. So the way to do it with different sizing is, I think, desyncing. So if desyncing is enabled, you can have some accounts trading, micros, some accounts trading the minis, and play around with that very, very easily, and simply go into your sync settings to modify that. So I'd suggest playing around with that and giving it a good thorough try, and take some very quick trades to prove to yourself that it works out with small size. But of course, make sure you got the right leader account and the right main symbol you're trading, and then you can modify as well. You can just click off the boxes for the accounts that you have to have them follow the trade. No other software is required. It's embedded in the system itself. So I hope that was helpful. Bear with me for a second here. So now I think that covers the majority of the questions. And I think that you've got a very good idea, I hope, of the outlook that I have here. And I'm looking very much forward to bringing in the week strong with you tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be the last stream that I do for this week. I'm not going to be streaming live on Friday, but tomorrow we'll do another stream, and we'll, of course, assess overall directionality, likely outcomes into the beginning of next week, and of course, trading on the day as well itself. Bottom line is, we've had a market that's followed our flight paths almost precisely. The ES, by the way, right now is at 75, 73. It's still grinding, still has several more points to go potentially before we see it max out. And we'll be at this point of the forecasted move. Do we start that big drop down today, or is that something that will require a bearish event? I think it's going to require a bearish event. And of all the data points that are coming out, all the events that are plausible into the end of the week, it is the jobs data. We had a precursor of the jobs data coming out this morning from the automated data payroll company, the ADP payrolls, private payrolls. The tall foreheads in the ivory towers, all the economists, the consensus was, I think, 118,000, and it printed at 98,000. So weak. If that has any foreshadowing capability, which it does somewhat, for the actual official data that comes out tomorrow from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, it would imply there's some downside risk. Now, how do I know I'm wrong? Okay, if we are able to surmount 7,600 on the ES, I am wrong. We are headed back up to all-time highs likely, not necessarily all before the end of the week. But I have to know what's the number. And it's not just because it's a pivot line. It's where there's a concentration of volume profile resistance. Getting above there, we probably will have a slingshot straight up into the 76.20 to 30-ish area, and then probably indecision followed by continuation. Now, that's in the case that I'm wrong. I need to know how I know, and the first inkling I'd have is price action sustaining above 7,600. That would be the most important, thing that I can bring up on the screen. Now, it's related to the ES, right? The Nasdaq could be doing something else, by meaning not moving as strongly higher, but just being pulled up by the ES. But right now, in the here and now, I gave you the insight, about a half dozen or so minutes ago, and I said to you, hey, we're at least going to get to the 30,330, 40-ish area on the NQ. That's when we were at 30,300. We got up to the 30,330 to 335-ish area. Okay. You heard me say in advance about more than a half dozen minutes ago that the ES is probably going to see a rise that can take it up into the 75, mid 75, 70s. And we're here now. And you also heard me say that this is probably where we're going to start maxing out in the rise. So for those who are riding longs at this stage, start getting those trailing stops in a lot tighter. Now, that's what I would do. It's not necessarily what I can tell you to do. I can just share with you that that's the kind of market space that we're in right now. And that's it for my market morning here with you folks. I hope that you've enjoyed your time with me again today. Give me a lucky number 7 in the chat and let me know if it has worked out for you. Let me see what folks are saying everywhere. Oh, looks good. Amazing. Well, I'm happy to hear that, folks. So looks like folks did well in general. Insights were good. And it seems like folks are doing well. Well, that's amazing. All right. So folks, I'm going to start dialing off air right now. I hope you enjoyed your time in the morning, and I look very much forward to sharing more with you into the end of the week. And same to you, David C., and to all the Canadians in the room from coast to coast. Happy Canada Day. I hope the festivities on your side are great. And it's going to be Independence Day in the U.S. very shortly. So a pre-happy Independence Day, but I'll see you here tomorrow. Bye for now, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for taking the time to be here with me each morning. I hope each day you're continuing to build your skill set and your acumen, and it's helping with your trading. Bye for now, all.